Well, good afternoon guys. It's Monday the 18th of February today. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Work done for the day. I've come down here to the private stretch to do a bit of predator fishing, just into dark. Weather's very sunny, as you can see at the moment. I've had a few showers this afternoon. It was supposed to be cloudy until dusk, but it's cleared. The reason I've come out today, well, a few reasons. The first reason is there's a very big moon tonight and it's due to be clear this evening. The rest of the week's going to be cloudy, but this evening it's going to be clear. So I was hoping the full moon, or almost full moon's tomorrow, would spur perhaps a zander on. Done okay for zander and pike with a big moon in the past, so fingers crossed. Not able to get out tomorrow night, and as I say, it's going to be cloudier tomorrow anyway for the actual full moon, so it's going to be pretty much full tonight. The other reason is I've got a score to settle. Came out here Saturday, so it came for a couple of hours on Saturday evening. Now you guys know, if you've seen my channel before, my previous videos, don't tend to fish at the weekend too much, occasionally on a Sunday morning, but certainly not Saturdays. However, this weekend I couldn't get out sort of Sunday evening or another evening down here, and things seemed fairly good, so I came out Saturday evening. However, just things went from bad to worse, to be honest. James was coming over. He travels a bit of a way to get here. I'd arranged to meet him down here. I was late getting down here, later than I wanted to, so I was a bit rushed anyway. Got down, well, actually as I drove past when I was coming back from where we have to go, we're sort of busy family day on Saturday, and we drive past here just before we get to home. I can see there was a huge great barge thing sort of right in the edge here. That's a bit strange. I hope they're gone in a few minutes when I get down there. Well, fortunately they were, but I got down here to see them gone, and the river was just full of twigs, bits of reed, all coming flying down the river. It was horrendous. To be honest with you, if James hadn't been coming down and been on his way, I'd have gone home. But I say, you know, I wasn't going to just abandon him. Got together with him for a while, so sort of stuck it out, and I thought, okay, well, we'll sort of cope somehow. But the amount of crap coming down the river was just incredible. I assumed that that this boat that was in here had sort of just gone up the edge and churned all the edge up and all the dead reed stems and all the rest of it, and everything that's got wedged in there in the floods, and churned it all up. However, I may have been doing them a little bit of a disservice, because I've come down here now 2 days later, 48 hours later, and you can probably see there's still bits of it coming down here. So whether there's something else going on and I did them a bit of disservice, then maybe, who knows. But it may be just from further up there, it's a lot better than it was on Saturday anyway. So decided to give it a go anyway. So I got the rods out, and just as I was about to cast in, a guy appears on the other side over there walking his dog. Again, it's Saturday, of course, you know, Saturday afternoon. The dog's paying attention to me, not to its owner. I cast in. As soon as my lead hit the water, this black Labrador leaps in the water. Oh, they're retrievers, aren't they? Leaps in the water, comes swimming across. I mean, it's swimming. It came swimming right across here. As soon as it saw these sticks in the water, it was going nuts, biting at them. It was so excited. The bloke is over the other side yelling at it by now, and he finally got it out, got it off over the other. He got out the other side, apologised to me, which, you know, fair enough. But I'm just now thinking, I don't need this. Came down here for a bit of peace and quiet, and I'm having a bit of a mare. You know, fishing for me, I mean, you've seen my channel, fishing for me, I don't want it to be a chore. I don't want it to be, you know, I don't have to come fishing and graft. You know, I don't mind putting some work into the fishing, but when it just becomes a nightmare, you know, I'd rather be at home and come another day. You know, I'm very fortunate to live over the road, and I can do that. I mean, I understand that most people aren't in that position. So anyway, the dog clears off, get the rods in the water. James turns up, he's trying to lure fish. I mean, you know, right game. But he was sort of managing, just about. And then it starts to get dark and I had a run. Brilliant, you know, cheered me up a bit. So I had a run, let the line go. Fish is off with it. Now bearing in mind I'm using circle hooks, so I can afford to give the fish a bit of line, because obviously once I wind down, the circle hook's going to come out of the fish and turn in the corner of the mouth. That's the idea. You need the fish going away from you. So I'm letting it go and letting it go. It's just a very gentle take, but it's going. And eventually it stopped. Thought, right, you know, it's turning the fish and time to strike. Well, not strike, wind down. Wound down to it, nothing. Just wound and wound and wound and wound, nothing at all. Okay, you know, we've had a bite. Great, they're feeding, because the river has been right up. I mean, I said in the last video the Avon was up, and it's been right up, chocolate brown. It's got a lovely colour now. It's about 18 inches of visibility, something like that. It's really nice. Water temperature is 7.3 the other night as well. I haven't done it yet tonight. I'm sure it will have warmed up a little bit though. So things are looking positive. James hadn't had any interest in the lures. About half an hour later I had another take. It was almost dark. I thought, well, I'm going to hit this one whilst the fish is moving, so I know the fish has definitely got the bait. So I wound down to it as it took I let it take line for sort of 5 seconds or so. Wound down to it, nothing. Again, I'm just like, what I've got to do. You know, I'm sure at this point it was zander. You know, the baits were really, you know, hardly marked. You know, there's a few missing scales, that's all, no puncture marks or anything. And I'm kind of thinking, are they just in one of their funny moods where they're just picking up the baits gently and swimming off with them, just perhaps in the top of their mouth? I don't know. So what I did was started mounting the baits with a hook through the back by the dorsal fin, because I figured that if they were picking up the middle of the fish, maybe they'd have the hook in the mouth. Anyway, so James had given up by this point. His lure fishing, we were stood there having a chat, and then in the semi-darkness, see the unmistakable bow wave of an otter coming right up the middle of the river. Just, oh no. Plop, down he goes, right over my middle rod. It's just like, I'm really not having a good day here. So at that point, James was going anyway. It's about 7 o'clock by now. He said, "You come in?" I said, "Oh, I'm here now. I might as well give it another half an hour." But you know, the otter killed the place last time we saw it here. So who's to say it's going to be any different? But you never know. It's fishing, isn't it? So I stuck it out. Thought I'd give it till 7:30. So 7:30 came. I had absolutely nothing. Not surprisingly. So I did what I usually do, just to get the maximum amount of fishing time in, is I put the rods on the floor, propped them up on the handles with the bait runners on, just sort of, you know, carp style like the carp guys do, and packed all the rest of the gear away, packed the alarms away, rod rest, everything I could, absolutely everything. Just left the camera out, the landing net and 3 rods. Still nothing. Got the first rod in, packed it away, put the gear away, the terminal tackle away, got the second rod in, same with that, absolutely nothing. So I'm walking up to the rod that's on the floor over there, and got my head touched on, and as I walked up to it I see the tip twitch. It's like, oh okay, and it twitched again, and then it just pulled around and the bait started clicking. I thought, I can't believe this. I was just about to pick it up. I mean, you couldn't have written it. I thought, this is fantastic. Play your cards right here, and blank avoided. So I thought, what shall I do? Do I strike? Do I wind down early? Do I wind down when the fish has stopped? Really, I'm in an R-ing. And I'm thinking, you know, I can probably wind down reasonably quickly, because I'd put the hook in the middle of the fish, like I say, by the dorsal fin. I thought, he must have that hook in his mouth. I thought, that's it. So I wound down to the fish and wound and wound and wound. Nothing. Just summed up the evening completely. So I trudged off home. Just thought, let's pull my fishing gear on eBay. No, I was obviously frustrated, disappointed, but you know, that's fishing, isn't it? It doesn't go your own way sometimes, and sometimes you have a complete mess. So there you go, hopefully mine's out of the way. So anyway, that's my unfinished business. I'm back here again, hopefully to put a fish or 2 on the bank. I mean, we haven't had anything yet, but the rods have only been in water perhaps, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, something like that. So probably do a recast actually, so I'm going to move the baits around. I'm going to do what I normally do. If you haven't seen the previous videos, I fish 3 rods because I cover lots of water here. There's no other swims to fish here. It's just this particular little couple of swims here, but you cover a lot of water. There's a lot of water all the way around there. It's a very wide section, and all the way up there as well. And I'll give the baits 15-20 minutes, and then I'll move them, and hopefully just try and drop on the nose of a fish. That's the idea. Zander or pike, either, really don't mind. Maybe pike before it gets dark. Although the water's still a little bit cloudy, but I have heard that some pike have been coming out of here with it this weekend. So you know, it's obviously not too murky. And yeah, zander perhaps after it gets dark. Anyway, I'm going to get these rods recast, and I'll see you in a short while, hopefully with a fish. Wow, this is tearing off. Yeah, we're into something. Little jack. Come on, you cheeky monkey. Well, it's a fish. Well guys, they're beastie, but as I was saying about the circle hooks, I mean, you can probably see it there, just in the corner of his scissors. It's exactly what they're supposed to do. Well, no beast, but he's alright fatty. Got a right belly on him. Brilliant. It's a start, fantastic. As you can probably tell, the sun's just going behind the trees over there as well, so just about bite time now. Fab. Brilliant. Right, let's get him back. Well guys, that's a good start. A little jack. He looked very healthy as well, didn't he? Which is great to see. I did think it was something bigger than that when he was fighting. He was sort of slow and plodding, so I was thinking, oh, maybe this is a nice zander, but no. Never mind. Those of you who've seen my previous videos, and specifically the previous predator fishing videos, will notice I've changed my bite indication. I've gone over to monkey climbers, as you can see there, as you've probably seen already. I was using my fox swingers mounted on the back rests, but I wanted something that I could guarantee would slip off the line every time. My swingers were sometimes staying on, or sometimes having to clip them off, and I wanted to fish obviously with open bail arms. And I figured that monkey climbers would give me constant resistance, and then obviously there's no resistance at all once it's come off the top. Now, not that easy to get hold of these days. A couple of companies that make them, but they're not the cheapest, and I just wanted to give them a go before I sort of fully committed to it. So what I did was I just knocked them up at work. All I've done is folded some mild steel, lasered it out, folded it, and I got it running on some bits of 6mm bar down there. I'm hoping they'll show up well as well in the when it's dark in the light of the torch. So fingers crossed, we'll see. Oh guys, I've got to run on this middle rod. Something's off with this one. Well, the pike is certainly on the feed. Well guys, another jack. And once again, without wishing to labour a point, there's a circle hook right in the corner, almost in the corner. Makes unhooking so much easier. That's fantastic. Really did think that was a zander. As you saw, I was stood by the rods and I could just see the tip twitching, so I picked the rod up and away it went. But there you go, fab. Right, the pike are feeding, as I say, so hopefully the zander are too. Well, that's great, another pike. So the fish are obviously on the feed, which is brilliant. What I'll do is I'll just quickly run you through what I'm using tackle wise and bait wise just before it gets dark and you can't see what's going on. I've got, because I'm primarily zander fishing, I'm using Rovex John Wilson barbel quiver rods, £1.75 test curve. I'm using them in the Avon setup, so I don't have a quiver tip on them. So it's got the standard Avon top section. I'm using Shimano bait runner reels, just there. This 2500 size. I like small reels. I don't have to cast very far here. The main line I'm using is £12, and I have because I'm likely to catch pike while zander fishing, I'm using a wire trace. I'll get to that in a second. What I've got on my main line is a very large, probably better against my thumb, very large run ring, and clipped onto that I've got one of these ledger stems. There you go, with a, I think it's a 2-ounce lead on the bottom, just to keep this all clear of any debris on the bottom. That'll stand up like that and the line can run really free through there. And as I say, I've got below that I've got a buffer bead which is covering a quick link in there. That clips onto the swivel that's on the top of my trace, and there's an anti-tangle sleeve on there as well, just to cover everything up, keep it all nice and neat. The wire I'm using is £10 breaking strain Drennan soft strand, because I like it, because I can knot it, to be honest with you. Not a fan of wire and crimping and all that sort of stuff, and really I don't need to do that for zander, but because we're going to catch pike, as you've seen, got to use wire. And what I do is I'm using, if you can see there, it's these circle hooks, and this is a size 1 for small baits. I will go up to about 1.0 for larger baits. And that's just tied on with a knotless knot there. I don't know if you can see that. It's just a knotless knot tied on there, and just put a dab of super glue on it just to hold it down. And that's it. And I'm literally, well, this is the bait that came in with that pike. I'm only using small baits like this, just dead roach. But what I'm doing is I'll break one out. This is still a little bit frozen. Probably better if I show you on this old one. Is what I'm doing is injecting them into the body cavity with this stuff, winterized smelt oil, which zander seem to love smelt, and I do fish with smelt. I've got smelt on one rod, but I am finding that smelt injected with smelt is great bait, but roach injected with smelt is even better. I tried lots of different baits, smelt, roach, tried lamprey, various bits and pieces, perch, sections of bream, but by far I would say 50% of the runs I have, probably more, are on roach impregnated with this smelt oil. And what I've taken to doing as well is just putting some nicks in the body, and under the gill covers, just sort of jabbing the gills just to let off even more scent. And the oil will leak obviously out of the body cavity as well, and well, it's doing the trick tonight. So I'm going to get this rod back in the water. Hopefully we can bank a zander. Well guys, I'm going to call it a day at that. It's gone 7:30 now. Apart from one little twitch on one of the rods I had, which sort of stopped as quickly as it started. That's really been it. I've tried small baits, big baits, casting around different spots, but it don't seem to be having it today at all. I'm quite surprised. Thought it'd be really good with that big moon out, but you know, you never know. So I think next time you see me now will be Friday evening. I'm planning to get up to the tributary again on Friday evening, have a session up there into dark. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, despite there being no zander. We had a couple of pike, so that's not too bad. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling, and I'll see you again on Friday.